So basically, what I was thinking of was, oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite off-brand aggressive player in RTA trying to see if they can get Emperor for another season. Yeah. Today's meme is not a dig at Conquer Lilias first pickers because, as you all know, I am literally the same brand of drafter as they are. But yeah, today's video is mostly gonna be a showcase of how I deal with Conquer Lilias first pickers lately. I like to go into either bunnydom and Huayang or bunnydom and APOC, depending on how aggressive I feel. In the first match, my opponent picks Conquer Lilias and some like regular standard stuff, and I thought they were threatening a Huayang ban, so I banned the Violet, but I guess they were just afraid of me outspeeding them. But then bunnydom sets up the same thing, so it's just kind of confusing, but you know, like, whatever. We take these 3 points. Usually when I climb to Emperor, I try to stay like within like rank 1,500-ish, but this season's been like a very hard season for me, like mentally. See, I think my opponent got tricked here a little bit because my bunnydom is actually on like kind of leftoverish gear. She's only like 280-ish with the frenzy speed buff, and she's not super tanky. She doesn't really have F-res, she doesn't really have effectiveness. It's just like leftover speed gear, but she works for her purpose because if your bunnydom, like I've noticed this from my personal experience at least, but if your bunnydom isn't like 300 speed, people get scared that it's like high F-res, but you know, not with my gear. So yeah, my bunnydom gets to go, and I basically get to cleave him back, and you know, as with the epicseven double standard goes, it's just justice when it happens to you. So I'm gonna take these 3 points. I need help winning these games. But yeah, I really do like bunnydom as a Conquer Lilias counter pick. You just have to be careful because if they pick Poultice and try to like speed cleave you, and they pick Peyra, it just, unless you have like cracked speed gear and other stuff, it's very hard to contest that. But luckily for me, it worked out this time. On to the next match, where I basically do the same thing. Like, it's the same thing. Like, that's one of my biggest gripes about RTA, is that you see the same stuff over and over and over. And it's like, I know I do the same thing, but sometimes it's very tired to see. Like, when people first pick like Huayang or APOC, I don't know, I feel like the game could go a lot different ways, in a lot of different directions than just like Conquer Lilias first pick, but I don't know. Some people say they see it less, but I personally see it the most. It's crazy. My opponent here goes for the regular, like, do you see how like the first 5 picks are basically the same? But my opponent actually banned Peyra here, so I can't pick Peyra. So I just pick Poultice Caesarea to make up the difference, because yes, if my opponent doesn't press any buttons, it becomes very difficult for Caesarea to activate. But you know, if I force DN and Conquer Lilias to have dead turns in the first turn, like it's nothing to get like too mad about. My opponent here, oh yeah, another weakness of this draft is like all the recent anti-debuffer units like Edward, like Dilibet to some extent, are not great against this comp, depending on who the bans end up being, but that's a problem for later me. A lot of people do critique my picks sometimes, but you all have to understand that I don't have the best gear, and I'm like free to play basically, and I have been for like a yearish now, and I don't have all the options built, so I just make do with what I have, you know. Like, even though I have like 70-ish 6-star units, only about half of those are like draftable in RTA. So my options are like quite limited. I'm just doing my best, you know, using characters I like. My opponent here picks Choux and Kisei, but I just decide to ban Kisei and take my chances with Caesarea, because even with the proof changes, she still CCs and does a lot of like non-elemental damage, because I don't think like burn detonation or bomb detonation is affected by elements, and it ignores defense, so it's a lot of damage that goes through that bullshit. So I'm hoping that my opponent here is stupid enough to press their buttons, you know, like crab players and champion players aren't the most intelligent people, speaking from experience. And lucky for me, my opponent decides to go for it instead of just passing the turn, so everything gets a giant CR push from my side. And I luckily strip immunity from Choux, so that's another RNG part. But my opponent gets a lucky, what's that thing called? Music box? Proc of immunity onto DN. My opponent also luckily pulls Choux, but thank god that S2 follow-up didn't happen. I can't believe I'm getting haunted by this Choux unit in RTA as well as Guild Wars. It's like horrifying. My bunnydom is also on Doctor's Bag because I know 280 is not good enough to outspeed any respectable Conquer Lilias, so that's what that's for. And now I go for the detonation and pray that this Choux does not counter S1, S2 me. Like, you know the drill if you played Choux. Okay. No follow-up, so it's not that bad. I ideally wanted to bomb this Choux too, but RNG was not on my side, and I wish this DN was stunned from the bomb, but you know, epic RNG, like what are you gonna do? And although unbuffable is on Choux, Vigor is still managed to land itself, so that's kind of unlucky. This Choux does massive damage to my team because it's squishy. I have to pray for... I don't know why I did this. I think I was trying to prevent the S3 from going up, but it didn't really matter, so I should have just saved my souls in case I wanted to do some plays later. And that lucky dual attack kills Politics. So I'm thinking here that they have 3 dead. My Apox on Penset has attack buff, but Choux survived.
You ready to fucking die?
Yeah, I'm a bad bitch. You can't kill me.
HP. So I just top right. Like, I fuck this game, you know. Yeah. You guys know that how the season is ending and I'm trying for EMP, so I'm going to try and film my journey this time because I said I would last time and I didn't. Oops. But hopefully I can make it this time. Like, I'm pretty confident in my drafting ability, kind of, sometimes. I don't know. It's just, right now I have around 500 matches. So I have like 200 to 300 matches to go, realistically. And 200, 300 matches of RTA is just kind of like, oh, dude. Major headache. But yeah, as on theme for my regular videos, my last match of this video is just gonna be featuring me with regular aggro. I see some unusual picks from my opponent's side, like not APOC and hand guy, because like you see them everywhere, but my opponent decides to go a Choux, carrot into my team, and then they pick Sage Ugly. I don't want to deal with Sage Ugly because none of his team really screams must ban aside from Sage, because I already have first turn priority with Conquer Lilias, so I decided to ban that. But it's gonna be pretty smooth. My units are tuned very well to this speed for this exact purpose, to bully standard players. That's why I changed up my pre-bans. I pre-banned Bellion Sid before, but technically those are both anti-cleave options, so people try to cleave me if I don't, so I switched up my bans to Rancid to deter more cleavers from getting through, but I just go for hand guy here in the match just because like the attack down is really nice and giving his team attack buff, especially turret, is kind of spooky. And I get greedy here and hold my souls. I don't really know what I did because I was pretty ahead. I could have honestly S3'd the carrot with the S1 if I wanted to, but it doesn't really matter. My Hwayoung is tanky. Closer is a RNG Fiesta with 70% evasion, and my Conquer Lilias is on the tanky side because she actually is wearing a percent def ring, not an effectiveness one or an HP one. So she's like surprisingly tanky. She survives a lot of APOC Ravi S3s that a lot of people don't expect her to, especially with the self imprint. My opponent here goes for the carrot, trying to hit my team, hits Closer Charles, because like why wouldn't you, I guess, like why have good RNG when you can just not. My opponent here actually goes for the S3 onto Hwayoung, but they don't know that Hwayoung is a balanced unit and Vigor is a balanced buff, so my Hwayoung actually survives. I was considering soul burning here, but I'm gonna get another burn from carrot, so my Stenny's gonna die, so I actually can't soul burn. So I have to pass my turn, but yeah. The match is basically over, but thanks for watching, and please subscribe and like. And if you notice that I'm in a new guild, I got kicked out of my last guild for intending to shoot defenses. Thanks for watching, bye!